Okay, guys, we talked about giving the answer that the real NBA owner gave to our little midterm exercise last week. So let me just communicate that to you, and I hope you find it interesting. And let me give you the particulars to start out with. As I said, when I first used this assignment a number of years ago, one of our actual baseball player post happened to live in Arizona, and he was flying back to school, Christmas holiday, spring break, something like that, and had the good fortune to get bumped up to first class and sit next to a gentleman, and might have seen his baseball gear or something like that, and they started talking about sports, and it turned out that this gentleman was Mr. Ted Leonsis, and Mr. Leonsis was the owner of the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals of the NHL. And our student, as soon as he found this out, told him about the assignment that you just completed. And Mr. Leonsis, to my good fortune, said, "Wow, that's a really, really good question. Makes for an interesting little academic exercise." And so my student proceeded to ask him what his answer would be. And what he answered was very interesting. He said it depended on which team. That his answer would be different for the NBA team versus the NHL team. And the answers were that for the NBA team, he wanted to make the playoffs. For the NHL, he wanted the draft pick. The reason he wanted to make the playoffs for the NBA team was that the weighted draft lottery played heavily in his decision. The idea that as a seventh or eighth seed, they would not get that much additional revenue, but what you would get is exposure, and the idea of winning was more immediate. He also felt that that was more attractive to the NBA fan base, and that contrasting that with the NHL, the team building was more important, that NHL tended to be a slightly different audience, and that audience wanted a long-term winner to compete with franchises that were more established. So he felt that building the loyalty of the fan base along with the longevity of the players helped in the NHL situation. The NBA situation he just felt was too fluid. So that the draft pick was not guaranteed. The draft pick, if you were seventh or eighth, would not likely be one of the top three. That your run in the playoffs, though short, would be worth it in publicity, even though not worth it that much in money. And that was more important to his fans, that winning was more important to his fans than building. And I thought those were all very, very good business reasons. You notice he didn't really talk about anything about the competitive nature of the game or anything like that. It was all business to him. And that's the answer. He really felt that you should make the playoffs when possible in basketball, that the keeping your name in front of the buying public for another week or two was important, and that you would be part of the conversation in player acquisition. Free agency does make a difference in basketball. It's not that big a deal in hockey, according to him. And it was a different market that he was looking at. So he was looking beyond just the fans, casual sport fans. He was looking at the demographics and the construction of the two different fan bases. So that's it. He wanted to make the playoffs. He wanted to push. He wanted to do it. And it's really ironic because having been the situation when I first wrote the assignment, it was really a team like the Wizards that I had in mind, because they seemed to be running into that situation with some frequency. Never did I guess that the actual owner of the real team, the Wizards, would be presented with the situation and comment on it. So it's been a lucky break for me, a lucky break for the course, and whether you agree with Mr. Leonsis or not will have no bearing on how we look at your analysis. Remember, what I'm looking for is a good, sound analysis of the economics and business of the situation, and I'm really interested in reading all your answers. Thank you very much.